Chimpanzee is obviously up to something. And this cat knows it. And he knows she knows. Into the jam. But here's the boss. This chimp shows he knows right from wrong, and this isn't right. And so off for the cleanup, demonstrating that even in the animal world, crime does not pay. Person comes next. It looks like revenge, but the cat will be all right. A little wiser and cleaner, although cats are perfectly able to clean themselves. Scientists say the behavior of chimpanzees, members of the ape family, is determined by learning and experience. He's had his experience, and the cat is having hers. Look, someone's coming. They aren't waiting to see who, and neither are we.
And that's about that. That's one of these fake Dolby Atmos mixers. I didn't even bother listening to the Aura 3D because it came from that something called Turbine Media. So it gets the cat litter award. Avoid that cash cow grab. It's got fake digital grain on it. That's one thing. That's one. But the fake overhead surround really, I don't know how Dolby Labs are licensing this to studios so that you know, they didn't use actual tracks, you know, like stems or actual tracks that created the original mix. They're just kind of using a cheap like matrixing by filtering out certain bits of sound as such, because that's usually what matrix things do, don't they? It sounds like, you know, they're just taking the sound from the left and right channels, possibly the fronts and the surrounds, and they're putting it through some sort of cheap matrix and just putting it on the overheads and then encoding, yeah, just to say, yeah, this is Dolby Atmos, blah, blah, blah. But the only thing that was just about almost as entertaining was the Dolby Atmos like little trailer at the beginning, which I kind of played, I don't know, I must have played it on loop, on chapter repeat for about, I don't know, 30, 40 times. That sounded more interesting than the actual. I would also avoid that Daylight and that Dragon Heart and anything else that comes from Turbine Media, because it's not going to be worth buying. Most people wouldn't know what to look for, what to listen for with overhead surround, and this is where most can fall into the you know, the money part of it, the cash cow grabbing, thinking, oh yeah, that's great, oh yeah, my overheads were utilized, oh, the entire running time. Gravity does that, but Gravity uses actual, you can tell there's a discrete difference. With this, no, you can't, because it's just like having the normal channels, just put on the overheads, like I say, the bit of the front, left, right, and the surround. Because I hear typical on the overheads, when listening only to just the overheads, I can hear the I can hear the typical sound pans of what I can see on screen, like a truck sort of coming on screen and then panning around, you know, and I can hear it a bit on the overheads, and I'm thinking, that doesn't make sense. Why is that truck up there? It's not really obnoxiously noticeable, but it's very faint sounding. Most people have their Atmos setups in their home are probably not aware of the things called frequency audio masking, and you know, you could have something that's probably mixed decently and the channel levels are all nicely balanced, Otherwise, you get these rubbish ones with something like with Hans Zimmer on it, mixing, or whoever's doing the mixing, and the score mixing, and it's absolutely rubbish. And especially when it comes to end credits, it's like the center channel's way down there, and the left and right are just way up there, and it's like, well, that's just going to cause audio frequency masking. What's the point of even mixing that, huh? I mean, I don't like Hans Zimmer music anymore. I think he's seriously overrated. And I just try to avoid any movie now that's got Hans Zimmer music in it. I don't even like... I cringe, listening to any other movie that I've got that's past, like 1980s, 90s, early 2000s and such. And then I started noticing the trend of the levels and such, and thinking, I'm fed up with this sort of this mix balance. I mean, why put all this effort into putting a system together and calibrating, aligning it, which takes hours, sometimes days, and then you get a mix that is absolutely, well, dreadful. It's not like, it's the end of the world. Maybe. But anyway, this gets the cat litter award. I am not even going to bother playing that again. It's a waste of my bloody listening time. If I wanted to matrix, say, like the overhead of the original, the AC-3 THX laserdisc, that's probably what I'd probably use to showcase, because I haven't yet tested the dynamic range on this piece of rubbish. Go for it, Bear. Attack. Oh, he's thinking. He's sniffing it. And even he can tell it's a fake. So it's a fake Atmos. I've got quite a few of these discs now. I can just think of a few off the top. The Thing. DTSX, that's got a fake overhead surround. Apollo 13 DDSX, that's got a fake overhead surround, and some subtracting of the LFE 0.1 on one of the scenes in the movie where you see the big crawler carrying the Saturn V rocket out to the launch pad, and there's no LFE. It's like, what's going on? And it's got a most bizarre sound panning in sound history. It sounds like a guy's walking around the control room and then going up a step ladder, and his voice is overhead, and I think that doesn't make sense. The continuity of it all is just dreadful. I like dialogue panning, but it was poorly done. Whoever mixed it, go and flip burgers at Burger King, please, because you're wasting my listening time. Oh gosh, can't think of a Total Recall. Yeah, Total Recall. That's a fake Atmos. That's a fake Atmos. I got a bundle, and some are kind of got a legit sound, where I can tell where certain music elements, So if you got like a whole orchestra playing, you want, say, a specific part of that orchestra on the overheads, but it's kind of having it playing around this level and then doing something artistic to create a harmonistic, uplifting, positive. So you're kind of hearing sort of like, and then hearing a sound where it's panning up away and then kind of fades, sort of, maybe. It just kind of gives that wow, I can hear that in most films, where I can hear that sort of sound panning where they're moving a specific soundtrack part element of the multiple odd layers of soundtrack that make up a soundtrack, which are thousands and thousands of tracks today, with Pro Tools and machine rooms, that in the old days where they had to have everything set up on the machinist to run it, and then it's it's all real time, you know, and you gotta be like, you know, ready. But these manual mixes or whatever the hell they're doing now is just cheap. They're like done probably in a couple of days, whereas Twister, to have done that would take a couple of months to redo it. Would take a couple of months to do it artistically, and that's about it. That's just about it. Avoid it, but it's just to say, I think avoid buying old movies that are branded Moo Dolby Atmos on it, the cash cow. Moo! Just avoid them. I am not buying another one. I don't care if it's fucking Star Wars. I am not buying any more of this shit because I'm fucking fed up wasting my listening time to untalented people that shouldn't even be handling it. You know, even if the actual studio was doing it, they sometimes are doing the same. They're just rushing it just to brand it, just so they can sell more units of the same title. It's not like, oh, we need it in 8K or 16 or hey, 50K. Oh wow, oh, you've not seen the movie like this before. Of course I have. We've all seen the movie. I don't care if it's in 240p. We've all seen the movie, and that's it. It's like, oh wow, now this book is in 4K. Wow, you can read it, crystal clear clarity text. That's like thinking, bloody hell, it's like I've read the book already. Just a bloody money cash cow grabbing. I swear these studios, I swear they are so bloody tight or strapped for bloody cash. They need to do this crap. Anyway, getting it out my player because this disc, I can really snap that in half. I can really snap that in half. So this is where it doesn't deserve to go anywhere right there. I'll just put it down there. And it can stay there. I'd rather play the DVD or the... there we go. I'd rather play this. CAV. Oh yeah. CAV edition. Could have got this. Yeah, I could get the CAV edition. CLV. You know, so it'd be just a single disc, two side.
Let's go, come on!
You get them done?
I think so. Beautiful. Okay. Good? Yeah. Great job, guys. Just be ready to record.
Just got to adjust that aspect ratio. Yeah, thought it was a little bit over because I had a DVD on there that was non-anamorphic. Don't want to over scan it too much. That's about right. That's about all the image there that's there. I can see typical in certain parts where it's moving out the interlace effect. That doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. That bloody 4K or Blu-ray whatever movie of this did bother me.
Good? Yeah. Great job, guys. Just be ready to record. Hurry! Let's go, come on!
I spoke to this sound editor once, the sound editor who did some of the sound effects on this movie, and he said they were doing tests of this and such, and on the PA speakers and such, so forth, and it kind of played at a very ridiculous level where it started doing, you know, because of the acoustical sound waves and probably bass building up in certain areas. Yeah, he was telling me a story about that. Of course, this would have all been back in the during around when they were putting all this together in post production, because all production would be done and then they just do post visuals, editing, sound, do all the, you know, fabrication. But this still knocks the socks off on AC-3 laserdisc because it's a theatrical mix. But I'm not putting that bloody not even to check the sound levels on it, because, you know, the frequency response on Spectrum Lab, not even to test that. Can't be asked. Still get a good pause frame on the CAV. There's a little bit of edge enhancement on this, so, you know, not major. I've seen worse at edge enhancement. Well, I like the way that squeaks back and the panning going from centre going over to stage left.
Nasty! You in position?
Yeah, we're prime! Ready for contact!
Because you get about 1 point of a delay on AC-3 getting a lot.
Nasty! You in position?
Yeah, we're prime! Ready for contact!
Wow. Seriously, I got my fader at -14. Usually I have it up a little bit higher than that, but damn. So at -14, I could probably notch it up about 4 dB. Maybe put some high pass filters in place, some band pass filters on the ABC over the screen channels. I'm not using the 5 screen at the moment, just using the LCR. Even with cinema speakers, damn, it's got quite a bit of sufficient bass. What's the surrounds like on their own? Yeah, a bit of that panning of the vehicle, panning from the screen channels and then panning into the surrounds, because it's as you see it, it's going off screen. So it's going from like on, and just about the right timing when it's off screen, I hear it on the surrounds because it's going off screen. So this is where I want to get take the same sound signal with the overheads, the same signal from the surrounds, and then with the switcher box, because I haven't made up the other lead yet. I've got to make up the other lead, and then I can merge the side surrounds and then put them on the overhead. So then there will be a pretty good immersiveness. And I want to make another lead, I can hear that rumble, that cinematic crunching rumble, raw rumble, in the bass. So I might make another lead, because I've got I'd have another port for the switcher, which is up there. It's up there at the moment. So I want to make another one so I can utilise the speakers on the floor, but also make another way so I can use a matrix decoder so I can extract the centre phantom signal. So it'd be the left and right would be on the left and right, whether it be on the side surrounds or the overhead, and then have another matrix thing so I can put a centre phantom in its position, so it'd be localised in a specific position. Yeah, try doing that on a Trinov. Plus, the wind. You think of the wind in this movie, like the element of the wind is changing rapidly, rapidly changing its positioning and such, and you got to kind of create that sort of those textures. You got to sit down with people and then plan it out how it's going to work out, and then all the other sounds as well, where they got to be, so you got the image, now you got to put a fabricated sound to it, and it's got to be pretty convincing. Well, that explosion there on the surround, not that it's real, but still cinematic explosion, cinematic. I think that's the best way to describe it, cinematic explosion. That's kind of like ambient-ish, like, even though it's more up front, that explosion, with a bit of a LFE on it as well, I think. Yeah, quite a bit of LFE. Damn, look at the levels on this going. Look at the levels. I'm only -9 up there. If I put that any higher, these levels would be pretty close to over. And that's not uncommon, with some movies where they got very, very damn, they're going really loud, and you get the common thing with audiences or some, it's too damn loud. That's usually the middle range and HF sounds. You wouldn't hear it on extreme high frequencies because your hearing wouldn't just notice it. You'd have all the other sounds in the way, and they're causing audio frequency masking. You got to have it so, commonly it's a range between, say, 500 and up to about maybe about 3 kilohertz or roughly. That range is kind of pretty, peaky at times, and all you have to do is just put some filters in and just bring it down. But by doing that, you make other parts of the soundtrack very soft sounding, too soft sounding, if you don't want to overdo it too much, and getting this theatrical mix to fit this room. Otherwise, the speakers, the JBLs that I'm using, would fit in a 400-seat auditorium. I like it, them on the CB radios there. I wonder if they took a crash course on how to use the CB radio, because doubtful. You speak to most people, everyone's heard of mobile phones now, yeah? But a CB radio, they might have only heard of it but never used one. But there's some CB radio goofs in the movie where, and still, this image still looks pretty damn good even on laserdisc. Still damn good. Why would I need it on Blu? Why would I even need this movie on 4K? What, another cash cow? No thanks. If I use the basic up mixer on this AVR, the sound's only coming from the left and right front channels. That signal sound belongs up front. Oh look, it's a Cobra. It's a Cobra. there's quite a lot of Dynascan. There's quite a lot of I gotta go frame advance. It's a Cobra 19 DX. Oh. And there were, in one other scenes, I think there's a Cobra 19 something LD or something different, the typical chrome fascia plate sort of thing. That's a bit of a later model Cobra, probably a bit of a late 90s model, whereas the other Cobras were probably probably 80s or such. And that's just the basic AM 40 channel with a green LED, 4-pin DIN. Yeah, you can hear them sometimes on the CB from about 15,000 miles away, and some up to about 20,000 miles away. You can hear them like they just sound like they're down the road because of the sporadic energy in the atmosphere, in the ionosphere, the sunspot, the solar things, and it creates conditions for radio transmission and other things, I guess. Whoa, nasty. Surrounds are really picking up some bass, you know. I mean, it probably goes down to a certain frequency range, and I keep all my speakers, they're all play full range. I don't use any of the bass management in the AVR. It would be if there were smaller speakers, they just wouldn't be able to handle it. But by diverting all the low bass into a sub is probably the worst thing you could do, because it makes a bit of a muddle of all the rest of the sound, because you haven't got level controls to adjust that left, center, right, surround, center, as well as the actual LFE, and make actual adjustments tailored, specific for the movie playback. Otherwise it's just randomly prefixed, and it will just apply that channel, and whatever channel is playing loudest in the bass is going to sometimes overlap other part where you need that impact, and it will just overlap it, and you're just not going to notice it. You got to do it separately, and you could do that easily by just using a 6-channel audio mixer, and just, you know, like an audio mixer over there, and just take all the channels, pass them into the line input, and then take the outputs, pass it through say a Behringer DCX, and then you can customize, because then you've got level control on the faders, sliders, and you can adjust them so that the playback plays back with oomph, rather than I think that's missing a little bit on that channel, because the other channels are overlapping it, frequency masking it. But, you know, if you got full range speakers, and the tuning and the because of room nodes and nulls and such, you know, sometimes you might not get a good decent 40 hertz, because you need strong, that frequency curve has got to run up smooth. It looks smooth on the direct when you do a direct frequency response, and how it's going to play back in a, you know, outdoors where there's no boundaries except for the ground plane, which is here, the ground. You could have the speaker raised up, do frequency sweep testing, see how the frequency response looks and then move the microphone around and see how much it drops off, or does it have nulls and deeps and picks. I don't think it would. I don't think you do get that, because there's nothing out there to sort of compress the frequency, you know, this way and that way, whereas that frequency needs to really reach out, and, you know, because of the wavelength, it's pretty long. You know, 40 hertz is longer than my room, bigger than my room. That's 40 hertz. You know, 50 is also, you know, 80 hertz is about roughly the room size, 80 hertz and then upwards. But you know, you still get the bass there. It's still there, but you just got to put bass bins around other parts of the room just to get, or change your seating position, which is a lot simpler and cheaper by just moving the seating just a little bit forward, or just changing the speakers generally on the. I'm thinking about moving the screen forward, but if I move the screen forward, it make this room look incredibly even more smaller than it already is. But that would change, you know, the frequency on the lows. Yeah, look at that colour. Look at that colour. I swear, you know, there was this guy who had a drive-in, and I think this is the last movie, probably in the last movie he played at his drive-in before he closed it all down, because it wasn't doing such well, and you know, not many were coming out during the winter times and such, and so he kind of, you know, he gave it a try. Yeah, it was okay. But you know, there was bits of film that got all chewed up in the projector because they had a bit of a it was a little bit wonky on some of the parts and maintaining, and I think it got chewed up on the end credits really badly, all compressed around the intermittent I don't know, I think it was, yeah, one of the takeoff, I think it was one of the takeoff sprockets, and it got a bit wonky and then started all running round, and the film, and I think maybe in the intermittent sprocket as well, and it really got several layers of film wrapped round it, compressed. Oh, never put your fingers near the intermittent sprocket or even the sprockets. They're like a food blender. But I salvaged a few frames that were intact, and you know, this movie was on laserdisc at the time, which I had, and I was comparing the colour of the frame, and it was, wow, it was a mirror image. Even the scope framing as well was pretty good. So I don't know what happened to the bits of film that, you know, got misplaced, because I had a bundle of them in a bag of film that I got saved from down at Tower Park when I was projections at Tower Park. Whoa, that is picking up, that storm. Whoa. Oh, Abby, combo harvester. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, it's raining combo harvesters. Seriously, it's incredible that such a storm could pick certain things up. Oh, that's a good sound effect. That's a good one. Where that guy bounds around and goes along the screen channels, that, you know. Oh, the house. Oh, what? Why don't they just, I can't understand, why don't they just brake and then just go round it? I think someone pointed out somewhere the continuity where the house would be where it's landed. I think someone pointed out the house is at that position now, right? So there is some continuity as they're going through, where the angles are slightly the opposite our way. So there's some continuity. They're going up the bloody, what's it, the staircase? What was the staircase? Oh dear. And there's that sound of the teddy bear hitting it, going, wait, meow, wait, meow. Center channel 1. I'll mute it. I quit this job. It's too risky. It's an okay movie. You know, you leave your brain in the jar outside in the foyer. You know, that looks pretty good. I think a bit of green or blue screen there. I think it is. I think a bit of blue-green screen rear projection and such, because I can tell there's something strange there with, I think, maybe the hair or something, the way it's looking, but it looks, it's almost pretty photorealistic. Yeah, you just got to think how to. Well, that bass is picking deep low on the surround here. This was a bit of a buzz. How many times did I see this at the cinema? Quite a few times. It may have been at SR, but just the 424 matrix. I could down mix this to 424 on the. I still can't figure out why I can't get the AC-3 laserdisc to come up, because I've got the lead connecting in. But I might try another output or such on the laserdisc player. But if I go over to non-sync, and I've got to go up to, I think it might be laserdisc, select laserdisc up there, and then I've got that on the. Let's turn that fader. Sounds a bit quiet, that does. Levels are okay there. Levels look okay, it just sounds a bit quietish. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, because I had that engaged. That's why my surround matrix was. There we go, that's better. It's all hands-on manual. There's no automation.
You guys, it's about to shift northeast.
Just adjust that level a little bit.
Bill, I think you guys should get out of there. You copy? Bill, Joe, do you copy?
So that's just 424 matrix at the moment. So that's why it gets this quick sound lock, because it's only playing left total, right total. Put the bass extension on. Still get sound panning as such with the matrix, where I heard that tornado kind of slightly on the surrounds, left half, right half configuration. I think I'll just go back to digital. Let's go back to digital. Wow. That kind of that sound on the surround there, I think. On the split surrounds. Wow.
Copy? Bill, Joe, do you copy?
Wow. that bass, just on, you know, just with the LFE muted, the bass still is damn impacting. Yeah, Twister.